Here we are at one of the most exciting stages, working with mixed light. After mastering continuous light, it's time to add a bit of magic with the help of flash lighting. Ready? Let's dive into this fascinating process. Mixed light is a true play of light and shadow, movement and freezing. If your shot with continuous light looks too blurry or, on the other hand, too contrasted, it's time to introduce a flash. The flash helps to freeze moments, while the continuous light adds softness and movement to the frame. How it works? Imagine you have two areas in the frame, one where the continuous light falls and the other where the flash is directed. The continuous light creates blur if you shoot with a long exposure, while the flash freezes the movement in areas it hits. This happens because the flash fires instantly and disappears just as quickly. To achieve impressive results, you need to play with the shutter speed. The longer the exposure, the stronger the blur effect from the continuous light, and the sharper the area illuminated by the flash will be. But be prepared for unpredictable results. Shooting with mixed light is a bit like a lottery. You'll have to take many shots to get one successful image. It all depends on how the model moves, how the continuous light is directed, and how precisely the flash hits the intended area. It requires patience and creativity, but the results can be incredible. Controlling the light. It's crucial that no other light enters the studio. Any stray light can disrupt the balance between the continuous and flash lighting and ruin the effect. Tips and tricks. Use a grid. It will help you better control the direction of the light and focus it on the right area. Cut the light. Experiment with flags and barn doors to limit the light and create even more interesting effects. Be ready for experimentation. Don't be afraid to try different settings and approaches. Your goal is to create a unique shot, and mixed light will give you all the possibilities to achieve that. Let's take a look at this simple setup that offers an interesting combination of lighting effects. Here, we will use a flash to light the cyclorama and continuous light to illuminate the model. The result? Clear outlines of the model with slightly blurred details in the foreground. We begin by directing the flash source at the cyclorama. This will create a bright and sharp background that will then reflect onto the model, acting as backlight. The flash, with its instant action, will freeze the outline of the model, creating a sharp and defined silhouette. I will add a blue filter to this light source. Next, we add continuous light with a honeycomb directed directly at the model. This light will create illumination that will blur during a long exposure, adding movement to the image. The continuous light will fill the front of the frame, creating an interesting contrast between the sharp backlight and the soft blurred details. How it works? Since the flash reflected off the background and hit the model, it acts as backlight, freezing the contours of the model. At the same time, the continuous light directed from the front creates a gentle blur, adding dynamism and volume to the photo. This combination allows you to highlight key details while maintaining an atmosphere of motion and softness. Since the exposure is long, make sure to use a tripod and ask the model to move slowly, sometimes keeping the face still and moving only the hands. Camera settings. Now let's get acquainted with the light painting technique, which allows you to create unique light effects during the shooting process. For this, we will need one flash with a honeycomb, an LED panel, and a flashlight, which will become our brush for light painting. The camera should be mounted on a tripod to ensure stability during long exposure. This is critical for achieving a sharp image. We use one flash with a honeycomb directed at the model's face, and one LED panel. The exposure will be set for about 4 seconds, which gives enough time to create the light patterns. The model should remain still during the shot, ensuring that the main details of the face and figure stay sharp. As soon as the flash fires, the assistant hidden behind the model starts rotating the LED panel, creating a glowing circle in the air. This circle will be captured in the photo, adding an interesting effect of movement and light. In addition to the light circle, you can use the flashlight to draw light directly on the model. The beam of the flashlight should be narrow and focused. As soon as the flash fires, begin drawing patterns on the model's clothing. Keep the flashlight close enough to produce clear and focused light spots. You can attach a special fiber optic diffuser to the flashlight to transform the light into glowing dots. Experiment with the exposure time. From 1 to 8 seconds. These are the basic settings, but you can play with the exposure to achieve different effects. The longer the exposure, the more time you will have to create the light patterns. This technique requires many attempts, so experiment and try different approaches to find the perfect light pattern. This setup with image projection onto the model creates a stunning visual effect, where the image completely covers the subject and the location, creating unusual and abstract compositions. This approach is usually used on light backgrounds with abstract or patterned designs, which can make the photo truly unique. How to do it? Take the image you have chosen and project it onto the model. Project the image onto both the model and the background, filling the entire frame, creating the effect of total immersion into the pattern. How to get rid of shadows. A very important point here is that the shadows from the model can be too large and ruin the effect. To avoid this, you need to work a little with the placement of the projector and background. Position the projector not directly in front of the model, but shift it a few meters to the left or right. This will provide the correct projection angle and minimize shadows. Place the background at an angle, so the edge where the shadow falls is further from the photographer. This way, you can move the shadow out of the frame. The model should be about 2 meters away from the background. Projector placement. Position the projector at a height of around 2 meters. This will allow the image to cover not only the model, but also the background from behind and below, moving the shadow of the model out of the frame and creating a smoother and more harmonious image. Camera settings. Sometimes, when working with projections, you may need to add extra lighting on the model, especially if they have very dark or tan skin. The main projected light may not provide enough detail and volume, so it's important to set up additional lighting correctly to maintain a balance between the projection and the fill light. How to do it? Place an additional light source to the side of the model. This will help highlight them against the projected image and accentuate the features of the face and body. To prevent the projected image from being obscured and to maintain its clarity, use barn doors, a snoot, or a gobo mask on the light source. These tools will help direct the light precisely onto the model, limiting its spread to the background and preventing it from interfering with the projection. Adjust the intensity of the side light so that it adds just a subtle highlight to the model without creating harsh shadows or overpowering the projection. The key is to maintain a balance between the additional lighting and the projected image. You can also create an interesting motion blur effect. Combining continuous light from the projector with a flash allows you to achieve a unique blend of blurred and sharp elements in a single image. Connect an additional flash to highlight the model and eliminate unwanted shadows. To control the direction and intensity of the light, again, use a snoot, barn doors, or a gobo mask. This will help you focus the light only on the necessary parts of the model without affecting the background or projection. As we learned in lesson number 7 on mixed light, the area lit by the continuous light from the projector will be blurred if you shoot with a long exposure. Meanwhile, the area hit by the flash will remain sharp and frozen. This will create an interesting contrast between blur and sharpness in a single shot. It's important to try different angles to better integrate the projection into the composition of the frame. Pay attention to how the projected pattern falls on the model, and experiment with the position of the projector and flash to achieve the best effect. Since the result can be unpredictable, take as many shots as possible. This will help you choose the most beautiful photo where the projection and the flash complement each other harmoniously. Use a long exposure to capture the blur effect from the projector and control the flash power to avoid overexposure on the sharp areas. Try adjusting the angle and direction of the flash to find the perfect combination with the projection.